What's up, everyone? It's Brian from Exact Cybersecurity and IT. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to get into this cyber attack on Rapattoni, a big real estate industry software provider. They provide services that help you get your home listed. I'm going to get into the cyber attack today, what it means for the real estate industry. Let's jump into what happened right now. Okay guys, so we have a pretty big event going on in the real estate industry with this software service provider called Rapattoni. I'd love to hear your comments about this. Have you been impacted, unable to list your home, maybe unable to purchase a home, maybe unable to follow through with a transaction? I'm sure real estate people are fully impacted by this, so we'd love to hear from you in the comments below, and we'll get right into it. Rapattoni is a major software provider in the real estate industry, and this kind of struck at the heart of many real estate professionals when they announced the other day that this cyber attack has impacted their daily operations. Rapattoni provides key services such as MLS, which is multiple listing service access, and the attack's impact was widespread, affecting various brokers, agents, and other real estate entities. The bigger, broader implication to this attack against this entity, number one, is really going to question, and it's going to erode the trust that many people have in the real estate industry, or at least the average person doesn't realize the state of the cybersecurity in a lot of industries, not just the real estate industry. But here we are with a major cyber attack in the real estate industry. And when these things tend to happen, they tend to put a microscope under that industry, or at least that business. But a lot of times that industry looks at events like this and says, how can we do better? Or how can we make sure that something like this doesn't impact our industry like this one has? It's going to erode trust of a lot of different people. We're talking about buyers and sellers of homes, customers, partners who use the platform, and now regulators are going to start to come in and scrutinize how well certain companies are doing cybersecurity in the real estate industry. And a company that provides a service of this magnitude that impacts tens, if not hundreds of thousands of transactions, it's going to be a big deal that they're going to look at bigger companies like this that play a bigger role versus, say, like a single person real estate agent who might not think twice about cybersecurity as they're trying to build their business. As we see in many industries, these things will tighten up on the bigger companies that can afford it and should be doing something about this stuff. And eventually it will trickle down to a single real estate agent. But I guarantee you, coming out of this event, we are going to see definitely more industry regulations around these types of things so we don't have operational disruptions. And an attack on a central service provider like Rapattoni highlights the potential vulnerability that this industry has to operational disruptions. And again, it's not just real estate industry that has to deal with this. Supply chain types of interruptions can happen across the board. I remember when Kronos had their problem and they couldn't help companies run payroll for a period of 3 months, which caused a lot of problems for businesses. And you're going to see the same thing here with this Rapattoni incident. It's going to impact transactions, client interactions, and just overall business continuity for a lot of other entities outside of Rapattoni that rely on their services. On a positive note, I think this event will spur the real estate industry to take a good hard look at cybersecurity and start to focus on cybersecurity, which I think is something that has been severely lacking in that industry. I know of probably thousands of people at this point who have contacted me over the years who said that they were buying a house and along the way during that transaction, their funds or somebody else's funds were misdirected. And we see this often in the real estate industry with business email compromise, and either a real estate agent or a title person, a title company, or even somebody at the mortgage company has their email compromised, and hackers sit on there and they learn about transactions, and then they create fake documents with fake bank account numbers, and they send these documents to the right people sounding very true, and they trick these people into wiring money to these various accounts. It happens all the time, and that's one of the things I personally would like to see cleaned up in that industry, because it's a big problem and it happens probably more often than you would probably believe. globally. This is one industry I look at and say, wow, this is one industry that really needs to have a collaborative approach to cybersecurity. Because if you look at the real estate industry, most transactions involve three really key entities, right? Real estate professionals, title people, and then mortgage professionals. They're all going to be involved in your real estate transaction in order for it to go through. And at any point in time, your data or your transaction could pass through their systems. And if it's compromised in any way, it could impact not only your transaction, but these three businesses as well. It's definitely an industry that things like information sharing, cooperation around threats can help mitigate and identify things quickly. When an entity knows that their business email has been compromised and a hacker has been sending emails back and forth, they should share that information with other partners very quickly. And a lot of them today, they just hide it or they don't want people to know because they feel embarrassed. And unfortunately, that's not the way that you want to go about this stuff. You want to be able to have a culture of where you can share this information freely and quickly and know that these things do happen today. And the people on the other end will probably appreciate the very quick heads up so they don't reply to something that may have come out of your company or from another entity related to this event. Rapattoni Cyberattack for me serves as a stark reminder to the real estate sector's interconnected nature and the critical role that cybersecurity must play and the increased level of cyber maturity that all of these entities must work to achieve together. This particular incident for me, it's going to have broad implications on this industry. I think it's going to erode trust. I think it's going to bring more regulation. And I think a lot of companies and partners are going to be annoyed that this happened to these companies and that they are unfortunately dealing with a terrible event that's really hampering their business. So I'm going to give some cybersecurity advice for real estate professionals. So if you're watching this video and you're a real estate professional, here's some things that you can start doing to kind of get on that path of better cybersecurity and be a voice of change in your industry to have better security all around. So things like this don't impact your business and impact your clients the way that they are. It's not just about protecting and making large companies do the right thing. Even small real estate offices, individual real estate agents, they need to play their part too. They probably don't have to do as much, but they should at least make sure that they have the basics taken care of. So what are the basics? Here are some best practices that I can give you as a real estate professional. Number one is make sure you update and patch your software. This includes whatever operating system you use. If you use Windows or Macintosh OS, they both have updates that you can check for and run. You can Google that kind of stuff, look it up on YouTube. It's very easy to do. It's very simple to do. Most of them set an alert that say, hey, you have an update. It comes up in the corner somewhere on your computer, and you should run that when it pops up. Also, check for updates on the software you have installed. So if you use Office, if you use Adobe products, if you use any kind of software outside of the operating system, which you more than likely do, your web browsers and things like that, they all need to be updated as well. So take some time and regularly update those or hire someone to do it for you. Right? If you're a sole real estate office, you're probably not going to hire somebody to do it for you. You can probably handle some of these things on your own. But a bigger office and companies with a large amount of employees, this becomes a little bit of a challenge to ask everybody to do it. It's very inefficient. A lot of people might not even have the skills or know what to do, and it could cause worse problems. So you might want to think about hiring somebody to do those types of things for your company. To implement multi-factor authentication wherever you can, especially on your real estate applications and especially on your email. Make sure somebody cannot get in by just guessing your password. They should have to have a secondary check. I recommend either USB keys or using authenticator apps over text messaging and phone calls, because text messaging and phone calls can be tricked. So make sure you're using a good MFA method, either using a security USB key or an authenticator app with a code that rotates every minute or so video, and that's the best way. I would recommend the app. That's the easiest way to do it. Get real estate training for either yourself or your team. This can be easily done through third parties, or you can look up things on YouTube, but I would recommend a solid program that's already built for you, that has course curriculum and things like that, not random searches on YouTube. But look, if you have no budget, that's better than nothing. But get educated on cybersecurity, get educated on threats in your industry, like this video where I'm giving the real estate industry an education on what they need to look out for. These are things that you can do to help protect yourself and your company and your real estate business. Security and awareness training, if you don't know what that is, that's just simple training that educates you on cybersecurity threats, on what to do, on how to do things like spot phishes and what to do if you click on things that are bad, and how to report them, and who you should report them to. This is all stuff that security and awareness training will cover. Everyone should be doing it so they know what to look for and what to be aware of while using a computer when it comes to cybersecurity. If you have a network or an office that you go to, invest in a firewall, but invest in a firewall on your computers as well, and really good security software. Really good security software today is called endpoint protection, and endpoint protection should definitely be something that all real estate professionals have on their computers at all times. The other thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is encouraging cooperation and information sharing with your partners. I mentioned that earlier. Sharing information, letting people know that you've had an issue with your email. You may see certain emails come from certain people within the company. Sharing that information quickly, having a mechanism or a way to share that very quickly with your partners, maybe real estate professionals, real estate agents who do a lot of business with a certain mortgage company or a certain title company, that you have a mechanism, maybe through Teams or maybe through email, that you notify them of a potential event, and they're aware that on this particular channel, if there's something important, it comes through here. So it should be used very rarely, so when something does hit that there's alerts sent and people are then aware of it. It's really smart ways to set this stuff up, so think about it, but it's easy to do. You can do it with email, you can do it with Teams, you can do it with text messaging. Communicate with your partners in the event you have a problem, whether it's ransomware, whether it's business email compromise, but letting them know quickly that somebody's up to some nefarious activity within your systems can only help them not perpetrate and make the problem get worse. Cybersecurity, again, is not a one-time effort, right? This is kind of like what I want everyone to walk away with all the advice that I'm giving here today, right? You can put the endpoint protection on, you can put the multi-factor authentication on, you can make sure that you're using something like a password manager and using strong passwords and beefing up that communication. But this isn't something that you should think about today and watch this video and then do something about it in the next 15 minutes and then never think about it again. It's not a one-time effort, but it's an ongoing improvement process where you do something today, do something else, and then you get educated and you learn that you need to do more. I've given you kind of the basics here that most real estate agents and anybody in the real estate world, from title to mortgage, they should do these things. And these are the basics, right? But there's more to do. We can always get better with cybersecurity. That's where the education piece comes in. And as you kind of check these things that I've mentioned today on this video off your list, what you do is you build on what you've already built. A nice solid foundation. You continue to strengthen your cybersecurity, and you make yourself and your company a less attractive target for cyber criminals. So I hope you learned a lot. I love taking things like these types of cyber attacks that we're seeing at Rapattoni, and I like drawing illustrations to how we can do things to do better. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you're a real estate professional, I'd love to hear from you. Did you find this information helpful? Are you going to do anything to help protect your industry better? And let us know, has the Rapattoni cyber breach impacted you in any way, shape, or form? So I'm Brian Horning with Exact Cybersecurity and IT. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel if you're so inclined, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.